Swahanti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Kauravani Pucharine Nirvishesha Sunyavari Ashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Okay, let's dive in to this wonderful oration of the glories of the Lord's devotees. And I think it's Lord Shiva, is it? Or is Narada Muni now? I think he's glorifying Prahlāda Mahārāja. And I think he's now gone to the place of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And he's meeting him personally, if I remember correctly. And okay, so let's, Mother Lavanga, you can begin reading today. You want? I saw your hand there first. And text
I think
8.
Sanctuary was first, actually.
Sorry?
I think Sanctuary was first.
Okay, either one. You can go ahead.
It's okay, Lavanga Mata. You can carry on.
Thank you.
You
Okay.
can go next.
Brahma, terrified, begged you to approach Sri Nrsimha. And when you fell at the Lord's divine lotus feet, the Lord stood up and raised you from the ground. He put his lotus hand upon your head and began to lick your entire body. When Lord Nrsimha burst from the pillar, he was so angry at Hiranyakashipu for abusing his devotee Prahlāda that Brahma thought the Lord might be ready to destroy the entire universe. Therefore Brahma entreated Lord Nrsimha to mercifully reduce his anger. That prayer unanswered, Brahma asked Prahlāda to intercede. Tataprans ama yopyat payi swapare kupitam prabhum. My dear son, Lord Nrsimhadev is extremely angry at your demonic father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. Bhagavatam 793. Prahlāda threw himself at the Lord's feet with full surrender, but the Lord picked him up and showered him with affection. When Lord Nrsimhadev saw the small boy Prahlāda Mahārāja prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlāda, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head, because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all his devotees. Bhagavatam 795. Similarly, the Brihad Narasingha Purana states, Lidehe tasya gatrani svapotasyeva keshari. Lord Nrsimha licked Prahlāda's limbs as an ordinary lioness grooms her cub. Text 9.
Just I was thinking out, it's nice how the Lord is showing affection to Prahlāda, is acting out that affection as a lion.
Yeah,
It's cubs. So he's really in that role of a lion. He's licking the head. I don't know if he's licking the head, but he's licking Prahlāda. As well as put his paw on his head. So imagine his paws on your head and he's licking it.
Yeah.
Very special.
It's so beautiful to meditate on. I love that picture. I really love that picture. When Prahlāda is on his arms, you know.
Yeah, it's famous. It's a nice picture in it. There's also a picture in one of my Guru Maharaj's books where Nrsimha is licking the head, got his hand on the head of Prahlāda.
One day he does to us as well.
Yeah, that's waiting. Like he shook Brahma's hand. He came to Brahma, shook him, and actually even even before the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadev, if you read in his 7th canto, Prahlāda Mahārāja would go into ecstasy upon feeling the embrace of the Lord. This was before. This is in his bhava of love. He would feel the presence of the Lord. The Lord would embrace him. Not seen by others, but only experienced by Prahlāda, and he would go into ecstasy. So, describes that in 7th canto. Yeah, we hope for such mercy. You can continue reading, Robert.
When Lord When Lord Hari, the most attractive and clever enticements, when Lord Hari, with most attractive and clever enticements, tried to offer you the supreme abode, you showed no interest in liberation, which is prayed for by Brahma and by everyone else. Rather, you asked only devotion to the Lord, birth after birth. Commentary. Lord Nrsimha offered Prahlāda Parampadam, the most exalted position of an eternal associate in Vaikuntha, but Prahlāda was not inclined to accept even this. He simply wanted to continue practicing devotional service, no matter how many lifetimes his service would take effect. The Lord tried to entice Prahlāda with kind words, as Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.52 describes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Prahlāda, most gentle one, best of the family of the Asuras, all good fortune unto you. I am very much pleased with you. It is my pastime to fulfill the desires of all living beings, and therefore you may ask from me any benediction you desire." Similarly, Lord Nrsimha tells Prahlāda in the Vishnu Purana 120:17, "Prahlāda, because you have been offering me devotional service without deviation, I am very much pleased with you. Please choose any benediction you would like from me." The Lord also tells Prahlāda in the Haribhakti Sudodaya 14:28-32, "My dear child, please give up this attitude of fearful respect that your reverence toward me has produced in you. I do not so much like this sentiment in my devotees. Instead, just feel free to express your love for me. When a devotee looks at me without hesitation and speaks to me affectionately, my pleasure grows with every new moment. Although I am eternally free from all limitations, with such behavior binds me with ropes of love. Although I am unconquerable, my devotees can conquer me, and although I am the subject of no one's control, I become their subordinate subject. I belong only to him who has shown his love for me by giving up all affection for family and possessions, and such a devotee also belongs to me. Neither he nor I has any other true friend. My desires are always automatically fulfilled, but I take various paths in this world to bestow on my devotees the satisfaction of all their desires. So please tell me what you would like from me." After Prahlāda answered, refusing all material benedictions, Lord Nrsimha continued, "Yes, of course, my dear child, nothing is dear to you but the opportunity to see me, and so I feel more and more affection for you. And still, I would like to do some favor for you, even though you are already successful in all respects. I want to give you something, so kindly choose some benediction just to please me." Text 10. Responding to your Lord's love, you agreed to assume your father's throne, and as you told Lord Nrsimha in your prayers, by doing this, you wish to help deliver all people. You are still on that royal seat, fixed in meditation on Lord Nrsimha. Considering the Lord's unconditional affection toward him, Prahlāda finally agreed to sit on the throne of his father. He intended to use the vast wealth of Hiranyakashipu's kingdom for preaching. If he could arrange for the deliverance of everyone in the universe, Prahlāda calculated that might satisfy the Lord. It certainly seems curious that Prahlāda at first refused elevation to the spiritual kingdom, but later accepted a limited kingdom in the material world. But Prahlāda did this because of a special hankering in his heart, his desire to free the people of the world from their distress. He did not worry that by involvement in politics, his own spiritual interests would be endangered, since he was confident that his unbroken meditation on the personality of Godhead would always protect him. Thus Prahlāda prayed to Lord Nrsimha, "My dear Lord, you are always transcendentally situated on the other side of the river of death, but because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering, and by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. Material existence is like the river Vaitarini, the gateway to the court of death. In general, material life on earth is full of suffering, no less so than life in the subterranean realms of hell. Therefore, although immune to these dangers, for our benefit, Prahlāda speaks as if fearing the troubles he can expect in various births and deaths, and he presents himself as befooled like most people who deal with one another as enemies or as friends, and who are thereby bewildered in all circumstances. Prahlāda addresses Lord Nrsimha as Parachara, he who is situated on the other side of the Vaitarani river, or in other words, in the eternally free realm of Vaikuntha. Expressing his own pain at seeing the suffering of other souls in the material world, Prahlāda requests the Lord to please carry them across the Vaitarani to safety. He then further prays, O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, original spiritual master of the entire world, what is the difficulty for you, who manage the affairs of the universe, in delivering the fallen souls engaged in your devotional service? You are the friend of all suffering humanity, and for great personalities it is necessary to show mercy to the foolish. Therefore, I think that you will show your causeless mercy to persons like us who engage in your service. Bhagavatam 7.942. Here Prahlāda addresses Lord Nrsimha as the spiritual master of all souls, implying that it is quite fitting for him to show mercy to everyone without exception. For the Lord to deliver every soul in existence should not be a great endeavor, because he creates, maintains, and destroys universes as a mere sport. And even less difficult should it be for the Lord to deliver his own devotees and their servants, like Prahlāda, who considers himself a fallen demon, with the one good qualification of being Narada Muni's faithful disciple.
Okay, let's just pause there. Now we reflect on what's being said. There's one verse which I forget the Sanskrit, but it's teachings are it's from the 7th canto, and I often I kind of memorize this verse because we live, or I live, or whatever you might see, in central London, which can be sometimes quite a challenge. And Prahlāda Mahārāja, he says, my dear Lord, let me get this right. My dear Lord, I do not wish that there are some persons, I just have to paraphrase it, I can't remember exactly, but there are some persons who take vows of silence, and they go to the Himalayas to take vows of silence. And in other words, there's some persons who leave the towns and cities, and they go to the Himalayas with vows of mauna, silence. As for me, however, I do not want to be liberated alone. That's what he's been saying here. He doesn't want liberation from matter, from the material world. He says, I don't want to be liberated alone, leaving aside these fools and rascals, because I want to induce them to take the shelter of your lotus feet. That's one verse that he prayed in the 7th canto. And Srila Prabhupada, often devotees will correlate Prahlāda Mahārāja's mood with Srila Prabhupada. And sometimes that question was directly asked to Srila Prabhupada, because they saw that Prabhupada's mood was much akin to the mood of Prahlāda. Yep. Srila Prabhupada had a place in Vrindavan, and he had retired. He was, how old was he when he came here, Srila Prabhupada? He was 70 something, wasn't it? Anyone knows?
69, 70, wasn't it?
69, 70, yeah.
Yeah.
69, 70. So that might be the last thing that most people are thinking of doing, is going to start on such.
That's right, yeah.
And as you know, there's a whole, he nearly died on the boat coming over the Jaladuta, and we know the history, and he began the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So Prabhupada, much in the mood of Prahlāda, yeah, and he came. So Prahlāda is so interesting that Prahlāda is directly being asked to accept something, but he wants to stay here. And interesting that I think it's Gopi Pranadhana, I'm sure he mentions there that he also agreed to take on leadership of the whole, the planet or the universe, I'm not sure. So that leadership means politics. Yeah, wherever you go, in the temple, outside the temple, there's some politics there, you know, and it means distraction. It can be quite a distraction from one's bhajan. But Prahlāda Mahārāja, as he mentions that, how was he going to use his wealth? It was mentioned.
To preach.
To preach, yes. So he's all of a sudden coming to, he's inherited the throne and everything that comes with it. So his father, Hiranyakasipu, happened to have accumulated quite a lot of wealth. As we know, practically speaking, his kingdom was said to be made of gold. I don't think practically everything was, but there was a lot of gold. So he came into lots of wealth, lots of a powerful position, and he did it all just so he could direct everyone towards Krishna. It would be really interesting. I guess we don't know it, but it would be really interesting to see the details of how Prahlāda managed the kingdom and how he engaged the citizens and what he implemented and what he didn't. I know there's stories of there's one king that Srinivasacharya converted to a Vaishnava. Anyone can remember his name, you can shout out loud. And his kingdom, and in his kingdom, everyone had to chant 64 rounds a day in the kingdom, otherwise they couldn't stay. The whole kingdom became Vaishnavas. Yeah. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is similar. So, any reflections on that or questions? This is Prahlāda Mahārāja, the emblem of a Goshthiya Nandi. Yeah, not satisfied in his own bhajan. All right, let's perhaps Mother Sahachari, you can read from text 11.
Thank you. Text 11. You once went to the Naimisha forest to have darshan of Narayan, who is known as the Lord in yellow dress. While on the road, you satisfied the Lord in combat, and he told you, yes, I am always conquered by you. This incident is recounted in a number of scriptures, including the Vamana Purana. Once Prahlāda took a trip to Naimisharanya to see Lord Pitavasa, the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. While traveling on the road, he met a strange person who was dressed like an austere renunciant, but was carrying a warrior bow and arrows. Prahlāda assumed from this person's contradictory attire that he must be some hypocrite abusing the true principles of religion. Therefore, Prahlāda started a fight with the sannyasi, owing, I swear I shall defeat you. But even after several days of dueling, Prahlāda could not subdue this adversary. Early one morning, before resuming the battle, Prahlāda worshipped his personal deity. He then saw his opponent standing nearby, wearing the same garland he had just offered the deity. Prahlāda suddenly recognized that the stranger was Lord Pitavasa, Narayana himself. Thereupon, offering prayers to the opponent with all the competence at his command, Prahlāda tried to satisfy him. In response, the Lord touched him with his lotus hand, which relieved Prahlāda from the fatigue of fighting and from all anxiety. Prahlāda asked Lord Pitavasa what to do about having transgressed the duty of a Kshatriya by having made a promise, namely to defeat his opponent, and not having fulfilled it. The Lord, fully satisfied by the sport of fighting with Prahlāda, told him, but I am always defeated by you. Text 12.
Yes. Anyone heard that story before?
No.
No, I haven't. No.
First time I've heard it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Prahlāda started a fight with this sin? What was the reasons?
Because he's the king. I mean, he's ruling the. He's ruling.
But what's wrong with this unstroke sannyasi?
Well, he doesn't think he's very honest because he's a renunciant with the mark of a Kshatriya, and so
Yeah, that's is hypocritical.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's abusing the principles of religion. So that's how strict it was in Vedic times. If it's actually, you heard this as well, that one time, anyone can confirm whether this is right or not, but I heard Lord Ram, one time a Sudra was chanting Vedic mantras.
Yeah.
And off of his head, he cut off his head. Yeah. So society was much more, the roles were very, very clearly defined. And as it's said in Bhagavad Gita, if one should stick to one's duty, even though imperfectly, then do another's duties perfectly. Because to overstep your duty or your vana will just cause confusion. It will have its knock-on effects, and everyone will start to shirk their duty and imitate the dharma and duties of another vana. So welcome to Kali Yuga, complete confusion.
I just have a question on that. But sometimes it says that you are whatever you are by your qualities. So sometimes a Sudra can have Brahminical qualities. So
yeah, they can, but generally, because the birth was generally in those days, it would generally be that those who are born in Brahmin families would be Brahmanas. Those who are born in Sudra families would be more Sudras, although there would be exceptions. Because the line of, or because the seminal line was quite intact.
Yeah.
But there would be exceptions. And in the Mahabharata, there are a couple of, there are exceptions. So then they will be, when those qualities would manifest, then they would be seen according to that particular, according, if they manifest the symptoms of a Brahman, they would be then treated as a Brahman. Who's that in the Mahabharata? There's one young man came to, who was it? Anyone can tell me who the guru?
Eklavya. He was born Shudra.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be like a Kshatriya. He wanted to learn the Dhanurved like a Shudra, like a Kshatriya.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a different story.
Sorry.
Yeah, this story where I think it was, who's the teacher of the Pandavas? Drona. If I've got the right guru. So anyway, he approached Drona, or this guru, let's say Drona for now, because I'm correct from wrong, and he wanted to become his pupil. So Drona would only accept twice born. That means no Sudras. Yeah, that means Kshatriya, Vaishya, Brahmins. So then to ascertain his Vana, then he asked him, who's your father? And he didn't know who his father was. His mother was, I mean, I think you get the picture. His mother was some type of prostitute. And he said, I don't know who my father is. And he asked his mother, and his mother didn't know either. So you get the picture. So he went back and he explained that I don't know. So he was born as a Sudra. But then I think Drona, whoever it was, said, yes, I will accept you as my student because you are honest. You are Brahmana. If you follow, he was a Brahmana because he admitted, he didn't try to hide it.
He was being honest, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was honest.
Yeah.
So then, there's an example where someone exhibited qualities of Brahman, then he was taught, you know. And even now, sometimes in India, well, I remember when I was in India again. I was in when I was in South India, and also it just happened recently as well here at the manor. someone asked me what my parents did. And they're asking because they want to, they're trying to understand my qualities.
So who was this person, Muli Prabhu?
It was just a casual conversation. I think it was
Oh,
more
I see.
out of interest. It was more out of
Okay.
interest. But I can remember back when I was in India, the person, this Brahmin who was doing my health thing, he was asking me, what did your parents do? You know, of course, I you know, I did tell him the complete thing of what my father used to do. Some of you might know he was, you know, he wasn't a very honest person. Anyway, so, but like that, you get the idea. So like that, Prahlāda Mahārāja here is, as the king, he's taken an affront that here's someone who is, what is he? He's a sannyasi and he's got a warrior's bow. This is, can't have this. So he started to fight, but it was the Lord. And fun. And also Mars Pritchett as well, isn't it? When he saw that low-class man, you know, it's a whole nother story, beating the cow on the ball. Anyway, anything from that? Oh. Okay, who was reading? Who is reading? Okay. I'm going to do some muting.
Okay.
Done it. Hare Krishna. Okay, I think Sahachari Mother, you was reading, wasn't it? Then I stopped you. You can continue if you would like. Did I get that right? It's such a...
Yes, text 12. Sri Parikshit continued, having said this, Narada, the ocean of ecstasy in devotion to Lord Hari, began to dance. That intimate servant of the Lord shouted, conquered by us. Commentary. The words Jitam Asamhihi, conquered by us, imply that Narada claimed victory not just for himself and Prahlāda, but for all the devotees of Lord Narayan. Text 13. Sri Narada then said, O best of Vaishnavas, why should I say that Lord Mukunda has been conquered only by you? Your grandson Bali, chief of the Daityas, has also conquered him. By your grace, Bali keeps the Lord as his doorman. Commentary. Bali conquered the Lord in the sense of gaining control over him, by which Lord Vamanadev now serves always as Bali's storekeeper. Since Bali was a leader of the Daityas, the enemies of Lord Vishnu's devotees, he could have obtained this influence by the Lord's special favor. Sri Prahlāda himself explained this while offering prayers to Lord Vamana. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are universally worshipped. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva worship your lotus feet. Yet, although you are such a great personality, you have kindly promised to protect us, the demons. I think that such kindness has never been achieved even by Lord Brahma. Lord Shiva or the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. What to speak of other demigods or common people? Bhagavatam 8:23-6. The Prahlāda Samhita of the Skanda Purana in the chapter describing the glories of Dwarkadam also relates the following history. When Dwaraka city was once attacked by 10 powerful Daityas, a committee of residents headed by Durvasa Rishi went in great distress to the abode of Bali Daityaraj. There, the sage Durvasa beseeched Lord Vamanadev to come to Dwaraka to defend them. But the Lord replied, O best of Brahmanas, I am not independent because I am purchased by pure devotion and by that alone. I am now the order carrier of Bali. I am completely controlled by that king of the Daityas. So, my dear excellent Brahmana, please go ask the demon Bali, son of the Virochana, and if he orders, I shall at once do whatever you want. Skanda Purana, Prabhasakhanda 4:19-23. But when Durvasa submitted his request to Bali Maharaj, Bali refused to give permission for Lord Vamana to leave Sutalaloka. Even after Durvasa expressed the intention to fast until death, Bali told him, let whatever you intend come about. Whatever you have in your mind, please do that. but I shall never give up the 2 feet at which Brahma, Rudra, and all other demigods bow down. Skanda Purana 7:14, 1916.
Okay, got what's happened
Text
here?
14.
We got what's happened here. Anyone could just perhaps paraphrase that. What's happened? You can just, yeah. Let's wait. Let's keep the.
Yeah, when Dwarka city was attacked by 10 demons,
Yeah.
Durvasa Maharshi went to Sutala Loka to ask Vamana Dev's help, but Vamana Dev declined that Bali is the one who is in charge. I can't follow you. So
Yeah, that's it. And then when they did go and ask Bali, he also said, sorry, not doing. The Lord's going
No,
nowhere.
yeah.
He's actually staying here. Yep. So they've come to request the Lord's help. And what's happening is these Daityas are attacking none other than, where was it? Dwarka.
Dwarka city. Yeah.
They're actually attacking Dwarka. And Lord has no doing. Because he's sold out to Bali Maharaj. Yeah, I am here. And he's the gatekeeper, isn't it? He's there. I'm looking over Bali Maharaj. So then if one, you can go and ask Bali. And if he gives permission, then I shall come and protect Dwarka. But Bali said, no doing. He's staying here.
He wants the Lord there.
Yeah. So that's how, actually, this is really a showing how much love controls the Lord completely.
For his devotee, isn't it? Yeah.
Completely.
So
The Lord completely gives himself over. So he's given himself over completely to Bali. Yeah. And the same as he's done, obviously, as we know, with Mother Yasoda, Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd boys, the residents of Braj. That Supreme Lord gives himself over and takes pleasure in being ordered by them or even chastised by them. Yeah. And that's the Lord's pleasure.
So that's the day we are waiting as well, Murli Prabhu.
That's prema that can control the Lord like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's why that's why the Lord is not so inclined to give it out here and there and everywhere. He's a little bit guarded because it does control him. But I'll be interested again, what happened to Dwarka? I tend to think that it was defended by the Lord's sons there. And it mentioned one of Devasa. Yeah, the great sage Devasa, he's full of mystic power. So they probably went back and they made do without the Lord and they defended Dwarka, I would think that's what happened. Because of course, Dwarka's not going to get defeated by anyone. Saw the Lord's intimate family members there. So no doubt Krishna or the Lord would have empowered them to defeat the 10 Daityas. Anyway, but the point is here is how much sold out the Lord is to his devotees. Yeah.
It must be so nice to see the exchange with devotee and Krishna, amazing that he just given up everything to the devotee. And other thing is that as well, Murli Prabhu, devotee is so much surrendered. He doesn't want to trouble Krishna as well,
Yeah, very nice. That's a Prahlāda Mahārāja didn't want any benediction from the Lord.
No.
Yeah. Prahlāda Mahārāja prays. Yeah, why are you testing me? Why are you offering me these things? Elsewhere he prays like that.
Because I think the devotee is very content. He's so happy and that's it. He doesn't want anything.
Yeah. Devotee's wealth is devotion to Krishna's lotus feet.
Hmm.
That's, yeah. All right, you can continue reading a couple more verses. Such I don't have Suniti Priya. You can read next.
Text 14. From now on, I intend to stay here permanently with you. By your power, I shall certainly be able to overcome the curses I received from Daksha and others. Commentary. Not only Daksha, but others also have cursed Narada to be unable to stay in one place for more than a short time. Daksha cursed him as follows. You made me lose my sons once, and now you have again done the same inauspicious thing. Therefore, you are a rascal who does not know how to behave towards others. You may travel all over the universes, but I curse you to have no residence anywhere. Bhagavatam 6.543. In the allegorical story of King Purinjana, old age, the daughter of time also curses Narada. Because you refuse my request to marry me, you will not be able to stay in one place for a long time. Bhagavatam 4:27-22.
Yeah, just an aside here. This is Israelites from the Bhagavatam. It's when Narada Muni converts the sons of Daksha, called the Hari Lashvaras, I forgot that, and the Shalalashvaras, or I think I pronounced that wrong, but two sets of sons. I think the first one was 100,000, and he convinced them to become brahmacharis rather than populate the universe. And then it was 1,000 or something, and he also converted them. So then Daksha didn't take that very kindly. But there in the purports, and he cursed him, Prabhupada says, just as Narada Muni has been cursed, I think I've been cursed by the parents of my disciples.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have become sold out, devotees. So Prabhupada says, in the same way, I have been cursed as well. And I can never, although I have so many nice places to stay, I cannot stay. Of course, that curse suited Narada Muni very well. But interesting, first let's see how this unfolds, because now he wants to stay in one place. He's had enough of traveling. He wants to stay now there with Prahlāda. So he's hoping the power of the Shakti of Prahlāda is going to overcome all these curses that have come his way. Yeah. So perhaps let's get Suniti, if we can read from here, if you like. 15.
Well, yeah. 15, yeah, okay. Shri Parikshit said, yeah, I know, Parikshit, yeah. Sorry, sometimes I can't say it. Parikshit said, unable to tolerate hearing his own praise, Prahlāda lowered his face in embarrassment, bowed down before Narada, and respectfully addressed him in a quiet voice. Prahlāda was ashamed to hear himself praised. He began to think that by speaking such impossible things, Narada must be teasing him. Still, he spoke gently because he had great respect for Narada, his Diksha Guru. Had Prahlāda not been addressing such revered person, Prahlāda might have expressed anger by replaying his louder voice.
Yeah, so remember we brought this up a couple of times. Narada happens to be the Diksha Guru of Prahlāda. And so now it's actually being said, it's being brought to light, yeah. So Narada Muni is praising his disciple Prahlāda like anything. So you can imagine his nice mood of Prahlāda, he's very gentle. He's not shouting. I think Narada's gone to other persons and they become quite vocal and quite kind of upset and vocal at the praise that Narada is giving them. But here, Prahlāda's in a different mood. Because I guess it's his Diksha Guru as well, so he's not going to shout at him. So yeah. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
Sri Prahlāda said, my Lord and spiritual master, please reconsider everything you have said. A young boy simply cannot understand correctly the science of devotional service to Krishna. proper execution of devotional service require mature understanding, since Bhakti Yoga is not only an external practice, but the natural employment of all the facilities of the self. As the great rule, young children, before waking of intelligence, discrimination, cannot have the understanding required to engage in devotional service. There may be individual expression in highly cultured family of sages and saintly devotees, but Prahlad, considering himself an uncivilized demon, would hardly claim to be such an exception. Still, when one receives instruction from a great soul, those instructions have the power to awaken one's higher understanding, and then one can engage in devotional service to the Lord Hari. Therefore, it is not a sign of greatness that ordinary person like me can perceive despite terrible disbalance, give spiritual enlightenment to children, behave like saintly person, show compassion to suffering soul, or refuse the boon of liberation. Prahlad had personal experience of the incredible benefits of association, even briefly, with the pure devotee of the Lord. Thus, he ascribed all his spiritual essence to the mercy of Narada, who blessed him with transcendental knowledge and guided him on the proper path of devotional service. A person had matured in his understanding when he realized that the four basic goals of life, mundane religiosity, economic development, sense enjoyment, and impersonal liberation, are ultimately inadequate. As a natural consequence of the realization, one begins to realize the great value of devotional service to the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord's devotees. Prahlad was not crushed by his father's prescription. He preached regularly to the son of Daitya. He behaved like a self-realized saint, dancing and singing in ecstasy. He was merciful to the suffering conditioned soul, and he refused liberation when Lord Nrsimha offered it. Srila Sanatana Goswami comments also that the final word cha and implies that Prahlad pleased all kinds of people. Prahlad argues here, however, that these are not always signs of person engaged in devotional service. What to speak of someone advanced in devotional? Thus, Prahlad means to refuse Narada's statement in text 4 about Prahlad have been a great devotee of the Lord since early childhood. In analyzing Prahlad's words, we have to consider that he denies only some of Narada's claims about his greatness. Others he simply shows his different light. Prahlad argues that as a child, he could not have possessed pure devotional because a child does not have strength to understand things or act properly. Prahlad admits he was able to withstand the torment imposed by Hiranyakashipu, but he could withstand them only because of his protection afforded to all devotees by the internal potency of the Lord. Yes, some deities became Vaishnavas due to Prahlad's preaching, but he was deputized to preach to them only because truly great souls are not supposed to instruct immature children, and in any case, talk is cheap, or an traditional saying goes, Prabhatya Pradyatam Sarvasa Su Karma Namha. It is easy enough for anyone to make himself sound like expert with advising others. In this verse, Prahlad does not even mention Narada's putting him as fully absorbed in meditation of Krishna. Text 6. The comment would be too embarrassing to acknowledge openly. He does, however, admit to dancing and singing in ecstasy, but even practicing nifya often shows the outward symptoms. Beginning in sadhana bhakti should dance and sing as a matter of duty. In other words, each item Narad offers a sign of Prahlād's greatness in simply natural effort of pure devotional service. Pure devotional service becomes manifest only when one's intelligence has become mature, and that occurs only when one has received instruction from great saints who causally bestow their mercy. So Prahlāda argues that the way he behaved is no reason to credit him with laudable spiritual quality. Lord Nrsimha and Sri Narada deserved all the credit.
All right, let's perhaps just pause there. Perhaps I'll ask again. Can anyone give a little synopsis of what we just read there in their own words? Put you on the spot. I keep the silence. So you can come forward.
I'm too tired. I'm too tired to think. We had, you know what we had today, just to quickly, there was no water at all. Only water that was coming out was in the transfer sink.
Yeah, I saw that in the. I saw that on the messages.
It was to cook Rajbog was one nightmare. We were going in and out. All the washing was done out there. Anyway, forget it. But
Krishna, hope it gets fixed. But what's the main reason Prahlāda? How was Prahlāda kind of deflating, or how is he not accepting the praise? What is he? How is he explaining himself?
He's trying to be humble, isn't it? So
He's being humble, but he's bringing the point. I mean, he's playing on the point that he's a young boy. And in that sense, he's ignorant about actual pure devotional principles. You know, he is not mature in any way.
no.
And okay, he's singing and dancing. Okay, we'll give you that. But as far as being absorbed in meditation and it's interesting because Prahlāda Mahārāja, he's obviously an ecstatic Mahabhagavat devotee. But I was speaking about this the other day with one devotee who we had a discussion online, reading on book. But Prahlāda Mahārāja really thinks like this. Pure devotees, even devotees at the stage of bhava, they do not conclude, yeah, I'm at the stage of bhava. Because they see themselves as being unqualified. And if they're experiencing ecstasy, they just put it down to the Lord's trying to encourage me. I'm such a fallen person. I'm such a wretch that I'm feeling this affection for the Lord. That's because I'm a hopeless case. So he's given me mercy. So this
it's humble, isn't it?
Yeah. And so
very humble.
Prahlāda Mahārāja really feels like this. He really plays on it, not the first time as well. He really plays that fact that he's born in a family of demons. So for him, that is proof he is of no caliber. But if we could just picture the actual, what Prahlāda went through and his exalted status and how Lord Nrsimha has treated him, but he sees himself as being unworthy. He sees of all the praise that Narada's giving. So, and he means it as well. So it's very intriguing. It's quite mysterious, actually. It's quite mysterious. The humility of a devotee can be quite, what's the word? It can be quite, what's the word? It can be quite, I can't think of the word, but can be quite unsettling. You know this word, unsettling? When we meet a great advanced devotee and they come across as being lower than a low. I mean, I often used to feel like that in the presence of, or still now, Jani Nivasan, now Pankaj who's left the world. But whenever because I'd associate with him to some degree when we're at the Mayapur Academy, kind of we're teaching together, things like that. And not, you know, with the same course as instructing, things like that. So I would always, in their presence, I would always feel like a football hooligan. Because they're so gentle, they're so unassuming.
They're lovely, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes when they come to give a class, you know, they sit there in front of the students. There's 50 students, and sometimes the Shrikavacha, he gives, before he comes in, like normally interesting, Jananivas and Prahlāda and Pankaj, I mean, they're like pujaris, but they're always late. They always come late for the class, like 10 minutes late. They're on a different time zone, you know. So where there's like one class we give where we ask, then we ask the students, what is the symptoms or what is the characteristics of a good pujari?
Punctuality.
Being on time.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then they asked, you know, being dedicated and being this and being conscientious and being, you know, attention to detail and treating the Lord like a person. And then he asked, so can you think of anybody like that? And nearly everyone, Pankajanu Janivas. And then as a surprise, then they come in about 5 minutes later. It's all kind of set. And they sit there at the front, and Janivas, when he sits there, and he's so humble that he doesn't say anything at first. He's looking so humble. You can see he sees himself as being, you know, sitting in front of everyone and being someone to ask, yeah, as an authority. He can see he's reticent because he sees himself, he's so humble. But then once you ask questions and he begins answering the questions, then it kind of opens up a bit. I don't know if I'm kind of trying to create a picture of, and I've in their association of these very advanced, humble devotees, I find it can be quite, not bewildering is the right word, but be quite, it's quite an experience, because here's me been practicing, you know, nowhere near advanced as them, and also not been practicing nearly as long as they have, but they treat me as if I'm an equal. Anyway, I suppose you might have had that experience as well with senior devotees. And so Prahlāda Mahārāja, he's really, he really feels himself as being not worthy of what his spiritual master is saying. You know? So, and even I give the example as well, if you was to meet Radharani, you know, she probably would see you as being more advanced than her. Yeah. If you're doing any devotion to Krishna, she would praise that. Oh, you're so fortunate. You cook for Krishna, you make these garlands for Krishna. I am so unfortunate. You know, that come up in Venu Gita, isn't it? When she even thinks the clouds are more advanced than her. She thinks the cows are more advanced than her. She thinks the deer are more advanced than her. They've got more attachment and love to Krishna. The cows love Krishna more than what she does.
But it's really nice to be humble like that, Muli Prabhu. You sort of, you know, as you feeling like that, and I think your consciousness get better and better for your spiritual life, which is so nice to hear from you saying that. It's so nice. You know?
That's why we have that Chanada Piece of Nichana Taro the Pishitna Manina Manikitana Sadahari, to wear it is around the neck, like a necklace around the neck, because Krishna likes it very much. If we have that devotion, if we have that mood of humility, Krishna can trust us with wonderful realizations, you know, because we're not going to become proud. You know, if we're humble, Krishna will. And Krishna, don't worry, Krishna likes devotees to be humble, so he's going to help us to become humble.
We had Mother Kulangana like that.
Yeah, Mother Kalangana, very good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in manner, yeah. She's
very, any praise, she's very evasive. You try and praise her.
She won't have it.
She won't have it. She'll always praise everyone else, you know. Yeah. Anyway, we're so blessed to have the association to actually get to associate personally with these great Vaishnavas. So here we can see this mood in Prahlāda Mahārāja. So, yeah, we could say more on this, but also humility. We have to practice humility, but humility in its real sense will actually come in tandem with realizations about Krishna, about the greatness of Krishna. Then there will be a natural humility that will manifest. But before we get there, we have to practice. That's why we bow down when we go into the temple room and we're taught these principles of humility.
And praying for it as well, Muli Prabhu, isn't it? That helps as well.
Yeah. All right, I've kind of mumbled on a bit there. So to 7 o'clock. So where did we leave? Text 19, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a quick peek forward. We're going to cover next reading. Yeah, so he's going to continue in the same. Yeah, so I have never performed any real service for the Lord. Then he's going to mention Hanuman. So that's perhaps where we're going next. We're going to go visit Hanuman. Yeah.
We'll start text 19, Murli Prabhu.
Yeah, so text 19. Let me put a bookmark up here. So just there you go. Okay, thank you everyone. Hope you found nice to hear about Prahlāda Mahārāja and wonderful mood of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And we'll continue next week with the glories of Prahlāda Mahārāja. So thank you for joining us and looking forward to next week's Krishna Katha.
Great, Muli Prabhu ki. Yeah, thank you.
Hari Bol.
All the Vaishnavas.